Oh, yeah. This is the Sabrina Show. My name is Sabrina Kalmans. The TV is fucking with me. This is officially the 10th Sabrina Show. Some would say it's the 9th, because the last Sabrina Show, I was like, can't do, no, thank you. But that's part of the Sabrina Show. This is a learning experience. This is Sabrina Show etiquette. You can ask questions, raise your hand, but if you ask a dumb question, I might roast you. And that's okay. And this is a safe space. I'm going to tell some secrets. I'm going to tell some crazy secrets. You're going to be like, wow, Sabrina, why'd you say that? This is a Sabrina Show. And lastly, this is a work in progress. I'm Sabrina. The only way to get better at stand-up comedy is to do stand-up comedy. And now I'm here. I lost my entire wallet. If you're wondering, I've lost my wallet 3 years in a row. The real Lucky Charm of dumbness, really. It's incredible how many times I lost my wallet, and the worst part about this is the wallet got uglier. The Texas ID got uglier. Look, it was so cute, and then it was so ugly. And the little numbers are smaller. For who? Why? Why are we doing this? I've lost my wallet in Cambodia. There's probably a girl wandering around saying that she's me. I lost my wallet I don't know where in Chicago, because I walk around high all the time for fun with Patrick. Another cool thing is every time I see somebody with a book, I say, hey, what are we reading? As if it's like a both of us thing, but it's just really a stranger, telling another stranger, I want to know about you. Let's connect. No? They don't want to sometimes. But sometimes they're like, that's awesome. I have been collaging this summer. It was the summer of collage and the summer of quilting and sewing. I learned how to sew in spring. Now I've gotten into the collaging. These are beautiful collages that take a lot of time. When you have nothing to do, I recommend the collage as an art form. This is the aftermath of a collage. I wouldn't recommend this part. I usually keep this on the ground for a few days. I know. I was at a party recently. That's Connor Snow, reoccurring character of this universe. And I'm a gal that likes to make new friends. So I was walking up to these girls in that little corner over there in the back, and I said, what do you guys do for fun? And somehow they got mentioned that they dissect bats that they find on the street and put in their freezer, defrost them, then just poke and prod at them. And they said it like it was so normal. And I was like, Sabrina, don't judge. These girls can be your new best friends. And you know what? They walked away from me. I'm trying really hard. I don't know if I'm going the right places, but I'm going somewhere. They don't want to hang out with me. It was 4th of June. These are some random ladies I met, but this was an important night because I went on a classic Sabrina bad date that night. I was on the phone with a man, as I do, texting, text. And he was, I go on dates because I wonder what's out there. And then I find stupid people. So this guy, he was bad on the phone, and I was like, maybe he's better in person. He wasn't. He showed up at the wrong replay. The only reason I go on dates also is to play air hockey. I want to win at air hockey, or I want someone to beat me at air hockey, which is incredibly makes them attractive. Or pinball. If somebody was good at pinball, I'd be like, yeah, this is awesome. This guy was so bad at both of them. How do you be bad at pinball? You're a loser. He started patting my back, and I said, stop, and he didn't, and I was like, okay. He talked like my cousin Luke. Luke Steinhardt in Dallas, Texas, who goes to UT. I don't think that, I was pretty mad. He said his favorite comedian was Bill Burr. And then he didn't like The Sound of Music. He bought me a drink accidentally. I ordered a drink. The lady said, "Okay, can I have your credit card?" And then he gave out his credit card, and he assumed that they were with both of us, so he paid for my drink, which was pretty nice of him. But it was completely by accident, and I could see the disdain in his face.
Oh my god.
He signed the check, and then he said, "Ugh, I haven't written on paper in like months." Where do I find this person? I haven't written on paper in months. Why? Why say that? I was like, can't relate. I write in my journal every day. You know, I'm pretty cool. And so at one point he was like, "What type of hard drugs do you do?" And I was like, I've done mushrooms like once. And he's like, "I've done mushrooms." And I was like, "Wow, you haven't had an ego death yet." And he didn't quite get my joke. And then after a while I was like, "Do you want to go to a bar, another bar?" And he said, "No." And then I left. And I walked to Scarlet, which was like half a mile away. And then on the way, also after that, he was like, "Do you want to come back to my place?" And I said, "I'm not sleeping with you. Ew, go away." And I walked to Scarlet, and he texts me, "Wow, you suck."
Whoa.
Luckily, I had to respond. I said, "You suck too." Then he said, "You're not hot enough to act the way you do."
What?
I said, "Neither are you." Then I was at Scarlet, and I was in the line, and I met these lovely gals who all were hanging out together that didn't really know each other. So I made new best friends. We were there, and then everybody that I ever knew started coming inside the doors. It was Willa Masters' birthday party. They all started going to Scarlet, and I was like, "This is crazy." And I saw everybody, and I was like, "Well, you know, maybe I shouldn't go on more dates." Yeah. This is also another genius thing I did. I had a 4th of July party, and I feel like that was pretty awesome also. But that's just like a me tell you thing. I also moved this summer. Thank you. It was very harrowing. I am out of my mold building. I miss my mold building. I got really high, and I walked to the garden, DePaul Garden, and I saw my building, and I started sobbing because it was getting better. Because it was black mold. There was like that pink mold. There was asbestos. But the shower was pretty awesome. Like, it had like pretty good water pressure. Except I just had mold coming out of everywhere, and I had to. At the last 2 weeks, there was no water in my apartment, which was not cool. Yeah, the basement had flooded. They said, "You got to get out of here." I already gotten a new place, but I was walking outside to go to the gym, the DePaul gym, to take a shower, as one does. You know, peeing in the sink as a classic Sabrina experience. You know, the amount of times I've peed in my own sink is incredible. It's toilet doesn't flush. Nowhere to go. DePaul gym or pee in the sink. So I chose pee in the sink. And then I was walking downstairs, and I saw these two guys, and they were like, "Hey, there's no water in this building." And I was like, "I know, I live here. I haven't had water for 2 weeks." And then they started laughing. I don't know why they started laughing is my question. I feel like it was just such a juxtaposition of their life and my life. They were like 40-year-old men. They probably had like a wife. They had children. I was peeing in my sink and taking a shower at the DePaul gym, who they said, "We're closing." And I said, "I haven't showered in days." And the guy said, "Go in." And I was like, "You're awesome. Thanks, man." And that was crazy. So I drove 2 U-Hauls this summer. I've never felt more powerful against a big truck. I mean, just seeing me driving a U-Haul is funny because I'm so small and it's so big, you know. But also, I had to pump myself up, so I would like talk to myself. I talk to myself a lot. I sing to myself all the time. I have little like tunes, little like jolly little things I do. You know, I go like, "Sabrina, we need to take a shower. Sabrina, what are we doing?" And It was more like, Sabrina, don't crash the U-Haul. Sabrina, don't crash the U-Haul. Hello, people. And I don't know. If somebody was recording me, I would have looked like a crazy person. This is me in my U-Haul. Moving is intense, let me tell you. I went to my grandmother's house. There's supposed to be way more photos. And I went to my grandmother's house, and I fit in my grandmother's wedding dress, like a glove. This was my grandmother's wedding dress from 1960. This is her, and this is me. And it fits so perfectly that it was weird. That I was like, but she didn't even know that it was, she didn't even know where it was. Like, I just found it. And my grandmother's not a very sentimental person, and neither is my mom. So I just, like, played around in these wedding dresses. They're, like, ancient relics. And I saw some pretty awesome photos. You know, God damn it. Come on, bud. The cool photo is not there. Oh, shit. You know, like that thing that they put on, like, a woman's leg? Where they're like... I thought that was a pretty crazy photo. All the men, just like, yeah, this is my wife's. That's a crazy ass photo. They've been married for 60 years. They're so goddamn old. My grandmother is very into it. My grandfather, not so much. He's not as lucid, but you know, he's a happy guy. He's a happy dude. I'm glad you guys were worried about that. Hang out with my grandparents. I went to a Korean spa. I have been obsessed with nudity my entire life. I've had an obsession on, like, bath spas. I was in Latin for 5 years of my life. I took Latin class because I read Percy Jackson and I was like, I'm a demigod. Yes. I have dyslexia. I have ADHD. I have the dyslexia with numbers. I am a demigod. The only problem was I had 2 living parents, which was so annoying. And so I was in Latin class, and all you would talk about in Latin class is like ancient Roman culture and history. So we talk all about like the Roman bathhouses, and we talk all about the Colosseum, and we talk all about like other stupid shit like over and over and over and over and over again. So I've been obsessed with bathhouses. And this was no exception. Lee didn't know that this was a nude bathhouse. I said, Lee, we're going to the Korean spa. Lee said, I don't know anything about it. We drove there. I was like, I need to prepare you. We're not going to wear clothing. And Lee was like, okay. Okay. And so I've never seen so many old people vaginas. It was incredible. Just like you know, I did a naked improv show last year, and I was like, you know, this is interesting. And this was kind of like doing a naked improv show, but you weren't have to doing improv. It was awesome. I think that nudity I have nudist parents. My mom is a nudist. My mom walks into the house, strips naked, puts everything in downstairs, and then she walks upstairs, installs bigger windows on the way up, and then talks to me completely nude. Does your parents do this? Yes? Yeah. No, of course it's
my mom, not
yeah.
my dad.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad that we've had this shared experience because some people don't have naked parents. Do you have naked parents?
My dad likes to chill in his underwear.
Yeah, but like
Is that nothing?
tits out for Harambe and chill out in underwear are different things. I think. I mean, and my mom is tits out for Harambe all day long. And especially in the summertime, she gets weird rashes and she goes, I just can't wear clothing. And I go, whatever. So I went to Korean spa. I got the worst thing on the menu accidentally. I had a great time. There was many rooms where you could have there was like a cold room and like a hot room. And there were like a lot of baths, and there were like a cold bath and a hot bath. And I was like, I'm a Greek god. Yes. Niles, Illinois. You got to drive 30 minutes, but I have a car. And you know what? I would say it's pretty awesome. I worked all summer at the museum. The museum is pretty awesome. It's right there. Have you ever seen the museum? Yeah. Have you guys ever walked in there? No. Because you know why? This is the exhibit happening right now. This is Inigo Mangalo of Ovalle. This is at the exhibit downstairs, and this man is a menace to society. I went to I saw him talk for for like an hour. And this is the Instagram photo that came up. This is Inigo. And this is my face going, what is this asshole doing? Me, thoroughly unimpressed. Thoroughly like, this guy is an asshole. His wife fainted during the announcement of the show, or like the first like the opening, and he was like didn't really care. And he also like his art doesn't mean anything. Like he's like the whole thing is called I Want for Nothing, and the entire time in a presentation he only talks about what he wants you to know about the art and what he wants you to feel about the art. He works at Northwestern. I have a big thing against him now. I've talked to many people who are arts people. There was like, he did a presentation where he made everybody stand for 2 hours while he went around to describing his own work. They could have gone in the perfectly well upstairs thing, but he decided, I'm going to make them stand. And I had many catty conversations with old ladies. The museum is awesome, but there's some weird characters that come in. One time, a guy was walking in, homeless, mumbling to himself, not like fully all here, but like, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's a free museum. Like, can't be in a free museum. No. So I was like, can you take out your cigarette? He was smoking inside the building. He was like a real Dave Chappelle. And he was like, didn't even know. And then he went outside and he went into the corridor and he took out the cigarette on the wall. Not cool. I didn't even notice. But then we were like, these other people, like these patrons were like, we should call campus safety. And I was like, hi, campus safety. There's a guy chilling. He's super chill. He's like really okay. But also, like, come over and hang out with us. and they came in, public safety, and they came in hot. Public safety are looking for something to take down because that is their job. They were expecting a violent man, and this is just a confused man just like wandering around. Another example is there was a guy a few days ago who was lying right here on the ground, just like on the ground lying, crying, yelling at the sky. Yelling at the sky? I was like, yeah, man, I get it. I've done that before. But the patrons were not happy with that. So they were like, you should call public safety. So we called public safety, and we figured out that he was drunk, crazy. And we said, please go home to wherever you are. He had like a backpack. It was fucking weird as hell. But you know what? I tell people where the bathroom is. I tell kids not to touch the pieces. I go crazy. I sit there for 8.5 hours, and I make little cult drawings, and I wander around, and I annoy my coworkers, and because I'm real talkative. But I got a few new ones that are as talkative as me, so that's good. What's next? Road trip. I did a road trip from Chicago to Austin, Texas. Why, Sabrina? You could have just taken a plane. Because I want a car, baby. What am I going to do? Take my dad's cursed car? Or my mom's red Tesla? I'm not running around in a red Tesla. What am I? My mom? So I drove 8 hours in both days, and for 2 days, and then 3 hours the next day. That's a long-ass drive. If you're wondering, it's a bad idea. I really did some reflecting. I listened to a lot of podcasts, so many podcasts that I ran out of podcasts. I really was thinking about my life, but honestly, this was okay, you know? So I took a road trip to Austin. I went to the godful place of Buc-ee's. I got a thing of pickled eggs and pickled okra, and then I just left it in my hot car for a month.
Oh, no.
And my dad was like, why did you do that? And I was like, I don't know. I can't tell you why I did this, but it just happened. So Bucky's is a giant. Who knows what Bucky's is? Bucky's is a giant grocery store in Texas. No, it's not. It's like a pit stop for like when you go on road trips. So it's like a giant gas. There's like gas and there's like snacks. There's a giant hall, and you're like, this is the greatest place in the world. I love Texas. I got a little Bucky shot glass. I hung out with my friend Saskia. Saskia is a 7'5" math major. If you can see, this is Saskia in comparison to a regular grocery cart. Saskia and I have been friends since 3rd grade. We went to Hebrew school together. Saskia is a giant. I'm not a giant. I'm very small. And we look very silly together. It's kind of like a comedy duo already, but Saskia is obsessed with getting into a PhD program for her math. And I've never related to anything less. So I was just constantly like, Saskia. And then I brought up, then this is Hanya. I taught Hanya in 2nd grade, 4th grade, then 5th grade in Hebrew school every weekend for like a lot of years. So I was very close with Hanya, but Hanya turned 15. This is a 15-year-old, and 15-year-olds are mean, brutal, and rough. But I love Hanya. Hanya's the closest thing I've ever had to a sister. And, you know, I hung out with them. I drove them around places, I mean. I hung out with my mom and dad. My mom, when we were looking at old photos at my grandmother's house, she said, hey, Sabrina, you want to get a nose job? I was like, I don't think so. Like, I feel like my nose is fine. And she goes, everyone has a nose job. Everybody has gotten a nose job. Your uncle, your cousins, all of your cousins, all of them. Aaron, Kendall, Tally, Lewis, Elise, all of them. Everybody's got a nose job. Even non-Jewish people get nose jobs. And I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do with this information. Like, is my nose really that bad? And I was like, I went to my brother. I said, should I get a nose job? And he said, no, don't. He said, yes, you should get a nose job. And my dad's like, if you want to work in entertainment, you need to get a nose job. And I was like, wait, everybody shut up. I talked to my grandmother. She said, that's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. And I went up to my mom and I said, what's with this nose job stuff? Why are you, what's the word? Yeah, why are you peer pressuring me into a nose job? Because my mom had a nose job. She was looking at the old pictures of herself and was thinking, my child is my genetics. My child has as bad of a nose as I did. She needs a nose job. She should go to San Francisco to get a nose job. Ridiculous. And I got out of it. My mom is also a really cool lady. I saw her picking her nose, eating it. And then I said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm organizing my nose. I'm organizing my nose, guys. I'm organizing my nose. When I pick my nose and eat it after, I'm going to say I'm organizing my nose. Excuse me. I have some very important business to attend to. And that's ridiculous. My dad is a cool guy. He had it was his 25th wedding anniversary, and he had like a 6-hour video of his wedding that he cut down into beautiful sections for his wife. And he made a speech. He had the Declaration of Interdependence, which is like the Declaration of Independence because they got engaged at like the pen, like the swing, like the broken bell. Oh, yeah, the Liberty Bell. And my dad said, the last thing I've ever done as a person by myself is figure out who I want to marry. So he made a beautiful little like Declaration of Independence. And my mom gave him nothing. 25 years of marriage. My mom was like, I'm the prize. My mom is a cool gal. My dad is a type of guy who will email a cheese company about a cheese that he likes. This is a cheese company. This is the cheese that my dad has been longing for. Dear Pure Luck, I've lived in Austin, Texas for 25 years, and I've biked to your farm and partaken in your cheese for honor cash system for a long ago. My favorite cheese of all time across all cheese makers is Hopelessly Blue. But over the years, I've had a hard time finding it. I've used to be able to find it at Whole Foods or Central Market, but at the dozen times I've asked, it wasn't in stock. It's been a while. So if they have it, please let me know and I'll call. My birthday was later this month. And I was wondering where I could procure some Hopelessly Blue. Any suggestions? Regards, Walter. Thank God they responded. Hi there. It's so good to hear from you. It really brings back wonderful memories about the old days of the farm stand and our loyal customers who used to visit us. I'm sad to say that we don't make Hopelessly Blue anymore. Maybe for a few years at most. Maybe once every few years, the particular blue cheese cultures that we have actually have become harder to source these days. So unfortunately, there isn't any available now, which explains why it's impossible to find. That's good. We still do make it occasionally, once or twice every couple years. So there's always hope in the future. These days, you will find our cheeses primarily at the farmers market, Bell on Saturday, Mueller on Sunday, and where my husband Ben sells. We are no longer supplying Whole Foods or Central Market. We've scaled back a bit, but we're making sure really great cheese and absolutely love caring for our goats. Thank you for reaching out and for all your support over these years. Messages like yours really warm our heart. You've met my mom, Sarah, all those years ago. Her birthday was August 24th. So close to yours, I guess. Best wishes to your upcoming birthday, Amelia. And that's the type of guy my dad is. He'll find the email address of the cheese company, and I'll say, how you doing? My dad also, he has a full-time job, and he also, for fun, works at the theater group in Austin, Texas called Zach Scott Theater. He's on the board, which is what a normal 50-year-old man does. And he's also on the board of the temple, and he just goes through all of their budgeting. And he's also on the board for the JCC, the Jewish Community Center. Let me tell you, they made a new pool. It took a decade, but it was worth it. And then I found my mother's Twitter account. My mother is on Twitter every single day of her life. My mom she's an ATX entrepreneur advisor, and she has 3,000 followers. 3.2K thousand followers. And this is what she puts on the internet. I prefer computers to code. I prefer computers and code to people easily. College sports are so exhausting. Crushed. Bitcoin, this is the life at Bitcoin Magazine. Hashtag Bitcoin 2024. My mom's feet. Giving away free pics to the masses. Apparently obsessed with these goggles this week. Imagine taking a terrible selfie, posting it and saying, gotta tell everybody about these goggles. I gotta tell my 3,000 people. 2 people liked it. 2 people messaged. My mom saw the Snoop Dogg Paris 2024 Olympics and she went, question mark. What's going on, Snoop Dogg? You have to tell me. I'm a 50-year-old lady in Austin, Texas. And an AI chat box is training humans how to text with teens in need of mental health support. At Julie Jargon, I'm skeptical, but my friends at Curtis Wellness at AL friend told me it was okay. It was okay, are a few fries. Weird world. I hope everyone is doing gorgeous today or this Sunday. I'm working on the garden and reading my Barefoot Contessa memoir. She's in the business. 5 likes. This is combat karate. My mom wrote, I was literally busted thinking about how excited I am for this tonight. My mom apparently loves combat. Get yourself to the gym or take a run or swim. It will help you clear and focus the mind. Peace sign. And that's what my mom does every day. Apparently all I need in my life, aside from a fabulous family, is a good phone charger. Good morning. Wait. Bitcoin came first, and I will always love it as digital gold. Walter says, focus on the things you can control. Well, through our choices are empowering, a friends you keep, the work you do, your beliefs, all a choice. And sometimes we do things we don't, but that's life. You drive your life. Nothing makes you feel more entrepreneurial and inspired than a Web3 conference. Is anyone trying to convince the team at their local 7-Eleven to bring back the Diet Coke slushie? Apparently I was the only fan.
Oh my god.
And this is the one thing my mom did for my father for their 25th wedding anniversary. The rabbi couldn't figure out why Walt Kalmans, whom he referred to as a bedrock, wanted to marry me. Happy 25th anniversary. My mom is so weird that the rabbi who talked to them about getting married said, "Don't marry her." What could be more fun than teaching my Uber driver about stable coins? To send money to Pakistan and Deadpin for earning drive rewards in Dubai. My mom went to this random man in the Uber, take a photo with him, a bad-looking photo, puts that on the internet. And this is the greatest of all time. My mom, amazing panel at Bill's Son AI. Love this app. It thinks I'm a Gen Z or millennial male. I'm really a bro. Seriously, I'm a huge believer in decentralized AI. This is a profile summary. Apparently, this like thing, it manages my mom's all of her things that she's ever done on the internet, and it tells her who she is. The user's prop is likely a male, appears to be tech-savvy individual, possibly from a global or Western cultural context with a strong interest in cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and related technologies. He's likely a young adult, probably a member of the Gen Z or millennial with a professional background. And my mom took this as a giant compliment. And she's telling everyone. Yes?
How much does your mom own? Like a lot of Bitcoin?
Not that much. I don't know. I don't need a gum graft. I'm such a loser that I go to the dentist and they say, you have a cavity. And I say, I don't want that. I've never had a cavity before. And the dentist said, okay, we're gonna give you some lidocaine, and they put it in my mouth, and my heart started beating so fast. And I said, I think I'm dying. And the doctor said, this is just what happens. And I go, okay. And then they go, your gums are receding. What are receding gums? This happens to old people and people who brush their teeth too hard. Because apparently you have a personality issue. Or that's at least what my dentist told me. The dentist said, you are brushing your teeth too much, likely a personality issue. I mean, I get it. Maybe I do have a personality issue. But I'm so gullible, I bought a $50 toothpaste because I was like, I don't want ever a cavity again. Then I went to the thing. They were like, we want you to pay $9,000 so we can fix your gums that you don't really need fixing. I go to my original dentist. They say, you don't need any of that. And I said, thank you. I don't need another gum graft. I just have to figure out how to brush my teeth without causing a personality issue. Thank you. I don't need another one. I got my wellness check from the doctor, and they gave me a blood panel, and they took my blood, and they didn't do it till like 3 p.m., and I was so hungry. And then the doctor were really mean to me, and then they gave me the results, and all it said was high cholesterol. And I went, I'm dying. This is the end of my life. All I know is that high cholesterol is bad. So bad, in fact, that I went to ChatGPT and I said, what does this mean? And it said, you're gonna die! And I said, I have to go on a run. The only way I can run or do any exercise is a little bit not who I am. I need caffeine, I need weed, I need alcohol, I need something to not be in my current mental state. So I would get pretty high and I would run around Chicago for a few days going, I don't want high cholesterol. I don't want to die. I went to my grandmother and I said, I have high cholesterol, I'm dying. And my grandmother said, you're fine. And I said, why did no one tell me? And I thought I was dying for a long period of time, a few days. And then I had a therapist for 3 days this summer. I went to the therapist thinking, maybe they can help me. But she turned out to be just as crazy as I am. I told her that I can see people's auras when I get high, and I saw this girl at a party, and her aura was so bad. And I told everybody, I can see people's auras, and she looked at me and said, what does my aura look like? And I couldn't, I had to say, it's terrible. It's really bad. And the girl said, is there anything I can do about it? And I said, I don't think so. I told this to my therapist. She said, I get it. That makes a lot of sense. That's totally normal, Sabrina. Then later she told me that she looked up my mom on the internet, Googled my mom, said click, and then she saw who my mother was and told me through the, and I was like, I can't hang out with you anymore. That's normal, I guess. Whatever. My name is Sabrina Kalmans, and I have a mantra. This mantra has released after I went back to Austin. I was in Austin. I did a 3-day road trip. I went to Dallas, and I was in Austin, Texas, and I was texting a boy because I do that for fun. I go on an app called Pure, where you can meet creeps. And I do. This is me. This is my mantra. My mantra is, let's all say it together, I'm not a mommy. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a sex object. I'm a person with feelings, but also go hard or go home. But what does that mean? How can you not be a mommy, therapist, sex object, but how can you also go hard or go home and not be all these things? I didn't know about that. I had to figure that out until Dallas boy. I was on the internet. I said, okay, my name is Sabrina Kalmans, and I love, what is I love more than anything? A fantasy. But you know what? I met this really nice guy. You know, he was a boy who did Latin in Texas, and we went to the same JCL conferences, Jewish Classical, Junior Classical League conventions. He liked choir and art, and he was like a cute swimmer, and he had red hair, and I love a red-haired man. And he was adventurous. And then we were like, hey, we should meet up in Dallas. When I come to Dallas, I drive from Austin to Houston, and then I drive Houston to Dallas, 5 hours. And then I'm at a mall. I went to the big mall, the Galleria, the nice mall. It was the busiest mall I've ever seen. I realized at that moment that I'm talking to this guy on the phone. I don't really know this dude. Everything's okay. Don't do this. I did this. I said, Sabrina, what am I going to do? We went to the mall. We met there. It went great. He's awesome. I was like, this is awesome as hell. This is the greatest idea I've ever had. Cool guy ever. We go to the movies. We see Superman. Awesome. I touch his penis. I blow him in the bathroom. There's a vibe change. There's a big vibe change after this. Post-nut clarity is a real thing. And I watched it happen to this man. And then I realized something's off. He goes, I drive him to his car at the other side of the gallery. He says, do you have anywhere to sleep tonight? And I said, you said we're getting a hotel. And he said, yeah, I did. And then he said, I don't know if I want to have sex with you tonight. And I was like, I don't care. I said that I was at Lee and Garola's house also to all of my peers. to anyone who questioned, I said, hey, I'm going to go to my friend in Lee and Garola who lives in Dallas. Love you.
I didn't know that.
I said, I'm sorry, I can't hang out with my stupid family how I hung out last time. Don't want to sleep in my cousin Matthew's bed. I'm going to go have sex with a random stranger. And then it went great. Honestly, the vibe change was really bad. Then I was like, I have an edible that's crazy. Do you want to have this edible? And he said, sure. He later revealed he hadn't done weed in 2 years. He got so high. I got so high. He paid for it. He paid for the hotel. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, honestly. He had an anxiety disorder that was undiagnosed. He got so nervous, but he was kind of nice. But I knew the night before. But before I woke up, before I went to sleep, I said, hey, you gotta be nice to me tomorrow. And he said, totally. And I woke up and he was like, I have to go pack for college. I gotta go, bye. And I was like, do you want to? But he's like, also, Sabrina, we have to go get the morning after pill. He did not put his penis could not get hard with a condom on. It was so bad. There was ejaculate nowhere near me. Nowhere near me. And this guy was like, "You need the morning after pill." And I said, "You're paying for it." And he said, "Okay." The morning after pill makes you crazy. Who's taking the morning after pill? Makes you feel crazy. You get all loopy and weird. You get like a weird headache and you feel like you're high. And I'm like, I'm high again. I'm high again. I'm sitting at an international pancake house. And I go, I feel really weird and like nauseous and like high again. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you. And then, but before we left the hotel, I was like, can you just like be nice to me for like 5 minutes? Just like hang out with me. Just like be nice. And he was like, fine. Very rude, very rude. But you know what? Then I drove to Kansas City for 8 hours. What does one think about for 8 hours of a road trip? Only that experience. I went in the car for 8 hours from Dallas to Kansas City, and I was like, and I replayed everything that had ever happened in that entire date over and over and over and over again. This is enough to make a person crazy and cry randomly, as one does. There was a lot of crying in between all of this. This was harrowing. This was a lot. This was, you know, from the life of Sabrina Calmans, this all comes from something. Why is there a mantra, you may ask? Because I've made some problems. Was I a mommy at some point? Yes. Was I a therapist in this moment? Yes. Was I a sex object in this moment? Yes. Did I go hard or go home? Also yes. Was this the outcome I wanted? Kinda. Was this the outcome that I deserved? No. No. This is crazy. This is something called a fantasy that should be explored with somebody who you know. Not a man who has an undiagnosed anxiety disorder. Literally in the middle of him being high and confused, I said, have you ever heard of SSRIs? I became a therapist. I became a mommy. I became a sex object. Is it fun to be a sex object? Is it fun to be a therapist? Is it fun to be a mommy? Sometimes. But you should not be all of these. This is what I impart to you. This comes from somewhere. I have been this my entire life. The first person I ever kissed was I had phone sex when I was 15 years old with a boy that I met a few years ago. I heard a man ejaculate through the phone before I kissed a man or anybody. That's a crazy experience. Where does this come from? How does a girl get here? I lost my virginity at 19 to a 26-year-old guy at DePaul who was still in undergrad. Weird as hell. One time, I had sex with this guy, and I didn't know what I was like, you know what? Let's see. And then he just stuck it in my butt, and I was like, this is not like porn at all. This hurts really bad. And then it was bad. Yeah.
Did he use any lube?
He tried.
Did he prep at all?
Mm-mm.
What, Sabrina?
I'm an idiot. How do you?
I'm gonna say that it sounds like he never done it either.
I had to explain what prepping for anal was.
Oh my god. So yeah, he definitely didn't even know what he was doing.
It was a bad idea. Everything I've done is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. Why does this happen? This is a pattern. And this is why I have a mantra. This is why I have a mantra now. I have a mantra. I'm not a mommy. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a sex object. I'm a person with feelings. And I also go hard or go home. And I don't know what to do. I go on a date tomorrow with a very autistic man. He just started describing how he's making a Viking shield. And he doesn't know how to paint it to make it the most historically accurate. And then I started doing research.
This is good.
Is that better?
Oh yeah. 100%. 1,000%.
He's so respectful. I hope.
You know, but the Dallas guy was respectful and he did pay for things. Also, I had gone to Thanksgiving every single day, every single Thanksgiving in Dallas, Texas, since I was a child, and we stayed at the same hotel that I used to stay at with my family when we would go to Dallas. And also, we were at the same mall that I would go to every single Wednesday before Thanksgiving at Maggiano's, and where it's also where I met Selena Gomez at one time when I was like 7. But like it was just a lot of emotions. Don't do. And then I was in Kansas City, and then I drove another 8 hours. So that was 16 hours of thinking. I get home. I don't text him really. He started texting me like normal shit, and I was like, I don't think I can do normal shit right now. This is crazy. So this is my summer. It was normal until Dallas Boy. And this is my life. This is the Sabrina Show. But I have also 2 other minor mantras, which is I'm living my one and only life.
Yeah.
Which is true. I am living my one and only life. And also, but isn't that exciting? Isn't all of this a good story?
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
After this, yeah. I'm not a sex addict. Go hard or go home. Should I get off of the weird? But sometimes you get so bored. And then this was me driving, lost in the sauce. No, it's not even lipstick. That was just me. I don't know what happened. I don't even know what happened. I am dazed, confused. I'm out of my mind. I called Dell. I called Dell in this moment, and I talked to Dell for like an hour about this entire experience. Dell can attest this is the experience that happened. I called my friend Lainey. She also tells me that this is weird also, and I go, okay, cool. And I had to readjust to life after this. I had to I went to a lot of truck stops. Any questions?
Where'd you get your dress from?
I got this at ModCloth when I was like 15. Then it was really long, and then we cut it. And then my mom had it tailored. I was like, this is awesome. These are my mom's shoes. They're really comfortable. Yes, they're very comfortable. Every other shoe is not comfortable. That's nice. Any questions at all? After this, I'm having a collage party at my house.
Yay.
Come over if you want and collage the hell. I have weed, I have alcohol, and this is the Sabrina Show.